All right, hey, it's Matt, back at Blind Guys Garage, and here we go. I've been back in the shop working on the '69 Chevelle project. Yeah, we're done with the Tahoe for now. It's still sitting outside. That's a whole different story. But here we go. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to work on getting the alternator wired up and get all these wires cleaned up from where we had all this stuff just randomly ran to the battery awful and ugly like last time. And then while we were off working on the Tahoe, we had this come in. This is the fuse box and dash harness for this car. So now we'll get to erase and remove all the wiring out from under the dash, every ounce of it, and go through and rerun everything under there, fix all the issues it currently has, and go from there. So we'll bring you back as we progress on the outside here. Oh, and as you can tell, we also got the hood back on. I think I did that last video, but either way, well, let's get barking. All right, well, I spent most of the day doing wiring on this car. Lots of random nonsense, as well as everything. So here we go. Let's lean you in. I'm gonna bring the light. Let me grab the light right here so y'all can actually see something. All right, got the light. So now we have a pair of relays mounted. We have an alternator lead, power lead mounted right there. As you can see, here's our alternator power lead, and it runs back in here to the main harness. These are fan relays. I typically try not to mount them just right out in the open, but that's two relays that are very important. So if you ever need to change them, it makes it easy instead of tucking them way up in the fender or something. And then this area is kind of a cluster bomb anyway, as it is from the factory. And of course, here's our fan harness right here. It runs all the way up, and it kind of ties into everything. It goes across the radiator core support. Hold on a second. All right, and it runs over here, and we got a battery in the way. So let's see if we can look down in here and see behind the battery. Ooh, there we go. There you go. Nope. Bring it back a second. All right, I pulled the battery out. So let's see if that makes things better. Oh, that's way better. So now, as you'll see, here's our fan wiring harness. It comes over here. Here's our mini fuse block. It's mounted now. Fan 1, fan 2 fuel pump. And then these are the two powers. One's a power lead, which honestly we're probably going to drop right here into one of these fuse locations. And then the other one's a ground, which will go inside to the computer. I know, it doesn't look like a lot, but everything's cleaned up now. I can put the radiator in. That was the whole point of everything I've done today, is get the radiator back in it. Not back in it, get the radiator in it. I've got power steering lines sitting at the parts store for me, so we'll go pick those up. I have the belt for it already right here on my motor. It's over there on the motor that we built, sitting on the channel. It's just sitting on top of it, and then that'll get most of the front of this thing done. So once the radiator is in, we can run the rest of the wire for the fans, and then we got the dash harness to do. So we'll get to that tomorrow. Bring y'all back later. All right, well, here we go. We're going on a Jeep. All right, so either way, here we go. Get the harness, brand new harness laid out here on the truck. Yeah, it's been a day or two, sorry. And now, as you can see, there's something else on the truck, but here's where we're at. Doesn't it look fantastic? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Nice and scary. No more dash. Most of the wire harness is gone. You can see some speaker wire ran across. You can see the floor harness comes up, and the trunk harness comes up right into there, right there. Yeah, and then everything else, LS wires that we ran already, are just dropped down hanging over there. So, but here's the problem that we've so far ran into. Here's our old harness. The reason why we're pulling it out is from all the butchery. All the cut wire, oops, sorry, I'm looking the wrong direction completely. All the cut wires, frayed wires, broken wires, added in wires. Some of it looks good, some of it doesn't look so good. So, here's the issue that we've ran into. It looks like somebody has replaced this harness before. The wire colors doesn't match, which isn't that big of a deal. I could fix that, but there's no starter harness, there's no ignition harness, there's no sensor harnesses. Those don't matter because we don't care about those, but it's kind of important that we have a starter harness and all. So for the time being, what we're going to do, you bring in here, is we've picked our purple wire out right here. Let's see if we can show you in there. The very bottom wire should be purple. And then this is our pink wire for our distributor lead, and you won't be able to see it from this angle. So, yes, I had somebody come help me with that. But that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna get this harness installed. I'm gonna plug these two up, and then we're gonna plug the other harness back into the main side of the block right here where it belongs. And it's not gonna stay plugged in because it doesn't have the bolt inside right here. Yay! Or I'll drill that out. I ain't decided yet, but we'll figure it out. All right, bring it back. All right, well, here we go. Give you a quick look at the factory instrument cluster while it's out. Here we go. Radio's been installed kind of haphazardly. Gauges all look decent. Is this factory? Somebody tell me. I don't like it personally. I think it's aftermarket, but all right. All right, so now I'll show you what we've done over the last few hours. I know it doesn't seem like it should have been that long, especially from where we started, but I've been chasing other problems, fixing problems as we go as well. All right, so now, here we go. We got the harness installed on this side. It looks like a nightmare, but it's not. Headlight switch. Wiper motors. Windshield wiper motor. We're not going to plug up any of the lights bulbs, so we just zip tie them to the harness. This is your door switch. All right, come on across. Now, like I said, we got the wrong, I don't know if I told you, we ended up getting the wrong harness. It's not a big deal. We got one for gauges, not gauge lights. I got lots of zip ties to cut where I've tucked away wires and all. This is backup lights. This is the center console. Then you'll come down here to the steering column. Obviously, you got the steer. All right, now we're in the car. So let's see here. You got headlights over here. Wiper motor. Come across on this side. Oh, this is your door light switch. Then you come across over here, and we'll come to the steering column right here, which is dropped down. You have the steering column plug, the big one. Then you have your neutral safety switch, which I just currently have looped. And that's actually all. Oh, and then you got to plug these two connectors in here. My light is in the camera. And then you got to plug these two connectors in here, this one and this one, for your ignition. Then you'll come across, and the rest of this is gauge related stuff. This is a fuel gauge. This is, I don't remember what this one is. There's your cigarette lighter ground right there. And then there's a bunch of other gauges. Oh, here's your cigarette lighter power right there. So let's see if all our work works. Fuel pump, that's good. Apparently the battery's not hooked up good, but it tries to start. Let's try one more time. Let's go see what's going on out there. Always helps when you actually tighten up the battery. I forgot I just kind of barely tightened it just to check some power set connections. So let's go see if this thing works now. Fuel pump prime. Can't be out of fuel already, can we? Let's go check the fuel pressure gauge. All right. What does our fuel pressure gauge have to say? It says we have 58 psi at the rail. Why we no run for? Try it one more time. It don't sound happy, but it runs. Figure out what. Oh, I know why. I'm a retard. Okay, y'all come with me to see the retarded action that's going on here. I'm in preparing right now for pulling off the passenger side header. I'm actually surprised it runs at all. Y'all see the problem? All right, I'll point it out to you if you don't see it. Dumbass moment. All 4 plugs are off on this side. Okay. All right, well, either way, I thought I was going to be pulling the driver's side header, passenger header off, and apparently I'm not. And probably need to hook those back up. I bet it would run a lot better. Huh. I'm surprised it runs at all. So, there you go. All right, one more time. It runs a lot better when you plug up all the plug wires. All right, now I'll show you what else we did here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go over here and disconnect the battery because I think I'm done for the night. So, one of the reasons I don't like side post batteries is they're not a real fast disconnect if you have to, if you have an issue. So, yeah, kind of is what it is. So, there we go. All right, so I know we talked about this harness right here. The one that comes out of the back of the fuse block, wherever the fuse block is. Here's the old one. We'll use it for demonstration purposes. So the harness that comes out of the back of the fuse block right here. Remember how we was talking about how I was going to have to put... All right, so here's the old harness. So we were talking about how I was going to have to put a pin here and a pin there so we could have fuel. All right, so here's the old harness. So we talked about me going to have to put a pin here for the starter and a pin right there for the ignition. Well, I did do that, and you'll see those are ran right there straight across the top of the firewall, right across the top of the wiper motor, real tight over there, and then straight to there. So that's what we've done for now. I'm going to talk to him about whether he wants to replace that harness. We're going to test it on the wiper motor, see if it works. If it doesn't function, then we obviously will have no choice. Or I'll have to repin the harness. Either way, it doesn't really matter. But this part's done. So now all I got to do is finish putting the dash back together and figure out what a couple last pins are for like the radio and that kind of nonsense. So the next time I bring it back, hopefully this cluster, radio, and all that stuff will be in the car where it belongs. All right, bring it back in a little bit. All right, we got the dash back in the car, like I said we would do. We'll bring it in a minute and show you that I am not doing a very good job. There's your dash is all installed now, as it should be. Whee! No steering wheel yet. All right. So now we have got to do, let's look here. First things first. Headlights. I think we've already done this once. Headlights work on both sides. And we'll zoom around. Whee! Parking light works. Fuel pump still works. Parking light and blinker works. Deet, 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 deet. All right. I can't show you brake lights, but those work. I already checked those as well. But yeah. So now let's put the radiator in. That's the next thing. Hopefully we'll be able to take this thing for a drive this weekend. All right, well, here we are. Remember earlier how we cranked this car and we had all the plug wires disconnected? And I said I didn't really need those disconnected and hooked them all back up? Yeah, I'm a dumbass. Now the reason why I did that is because, let's get a light. The reason why I did that is because I needed to get the transmission lines hooked up properly, opposed to just looped like they were. So now, let's lean in here. There we go. Let's see if we can show you what we got going on down in here. There we go. So here's our trans lines. Run right here to these two middle lines, the factory trans lines that I cut and put adapter fittings on. And there we go. Now we have trans lines that run up. Now, this one's a little short. This one is just a little short, about an inch too short. So we're probably going to end up having to remake it. But that should be good enough for the time to be able to get this thing on the road and, you know, right up the road and back to test the transmission out. So now I've got to finish up the rest of the nonsense out here, put some water in it, and then we'll fire it up and let it run for 20 minutes, make sure it don't run hot. And the next step after that will be take it for a quick test drive. Hopefully we can do that this weekend. So the rest of this video is going to be shot over the next couple days. And then this thing will be as done as it's going to get until his Dakota Digital Dash gets here and his Vintage Air. So once those gets here, then we'll jump back on it. But until then, that's where we're at. All right, as I'm putting this header back on, I'm remembering something. I don't remember if I showed you in the last video. notch your gaskets. That way you can put the front and the back bolt in. They just drop right in. You don't got to fight the gasket behind everything and fight and argue with everything. Makes life so much easier. Notch gasket, slide it in. Done. All right. Now I can't remember what we've talked about so far because I've done a lot. But got the radiator installed. All the hoses are on. We do not have fluids in it yet. First time we're running it with a cold air intake. So this is the first time it's actually fired and run with every sensor that's supposed to be hooked up. So let's fire it up. Sounds good. All our exhausts are hot on that side. Number one's hot. 3, 5, 7. About hot enough to burn your hands. Of course. Yeah. All right, one more time. There she is. All right, now I'm done for the night. See y'all tomorrow. All right, here we are. So I don't know what we've showed you and what I haven't. I've worked on this thing randomly on and off for the last couple days. Fan relays mounted. Fan wiring ran down right there. You can see right there's the fan wiring. Runs down into some Deutsch connectors down here. There's your Deutsch connectors. If y'all want to know how to assemble those, I can make a video on that. Got all the fans wired now. All that works and functions as it should. Got our relay, our fuse box mounted over here. I don't remember if I've showed you that or not. The white wire is a trigger power for the fans. It's on a 5 amp fuse. The two red wire, there's 3 red wires. Let's see. So I'm going to label these all for the guy. This is fuel pump, fan 1, fan 2. And this is a ground. That's why it's not 100% covered, so it doesn't really matter. So the green wires are going to be the fan ground that runs into the PCM inside the dash in there. Now, spin you around. We're going to walk into the car and show you where we're working on it. And hopefully, we're almost done with this guy. Because I've been working on this thing for a long time, it feels like. All right, so now we're in here under the dash. And we have all these tied up. This is for the gate. I got wires everywhere. We'll fix it later. This wad right here is for gauges. So this will be speedometer, tachometer, oil pressure sensor if you have one, oil level sensor if you have one. So we don't need none of that for now because we don't have the gauge set here. We're still waiting on it to come in. And then we have this wire and this wire. The purple lead in this case is a brake position power. We're going to run it straight to hot so it stays hot all the time. And this is our fan trigger wire, which will go to this green over here, wherever it's at. I don't know. Here's our other, nope. I don't know, it's in here somewhere. You probably see it and I'm just missing it. So, and then we got to clean up this rat's nest of wires that's in here. And we got to finish the radio. So I'm going to do that off camera. All right, so only thing we really got left is to clean up the rat nest of wires. And those two, the purple and the dark green, and the radio. Then we can send this thing on its way for a little bit. It'll be back in a couple months. He's going to take it down to the body shop and have his body guy fix everything going on with this fender over here. I'm sure you've seen it. If you hadn't, you know, it's got some damage here where somebody hit this corner of this bumper right here and scraped up, knocked this loose here, broke the grill, broke all the headlight assembly stuff right there on that side. So I mean, it did some damage to it, but it's not awful. It's very repairable. There's a couple other scratches and scuffs on the car he wants to have worked out too. So for now, oh yeah, we got the belt on, except it didn't fit. So now we'll have to get a couple sizes bigger belt. Probably this is a 755, probably have to go to a 775. it's how it goes. So, all right, bring it back. All right, well, here she is. Let's grab my light right here. Get y'all a look around here. Got the intake on. That's a blue coupling. That'll be changed to black or red, whatever I can come up with. All the wiring's done down in the hole here. Fans and all are wired up. All the radiator hoses are actually on it. All the wiring's done in that hole over there. From the outside looking in, looks nice. Let's walk around over here. And guess what? Oh, there's no more wires hanging in the floor. Isn't that nice? So we've got all the wiring cleaned up in here as far as I can tell. Now there's a couple of wires still hanging on the floor. This is the, I hadn't tucked it up yet. This is the one that goes over here to the OBD2 port. Let's see, radio comes on now. There's that. Now, I guess that's about it. I had to put this seal plate on right here and that cover. And then I'll be done on the inside of the car for this time anyway. Yeah, hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to actually crank it and let it run. I don't have the belt. It's the only thing I don't have for it, belt. So once we get the belt, we'll be able to fire it up, let it run for a decent period of time for the first time, and take it for a short test drive. But for now, I'm going to stop. We will continue this video, but I got to turn this car around, and we'll probably go ahead and do the rear diff seals, which will be in the next video. So, there it is. Bring it back in a bit. All right, well, I said I was going to bring it back for this video, but it's already getting kind of long as I'm editing it, and I'm realizing it's, like I said, long. So, I think what we're going to do is we're going to end it right here, and we'll bring it back next time for, let's get it running and pull it outside and do all the good stuff. As you can tell, that actually went well. Just a cheater alert because it's in a different location. I mean, there's always some kind of issue, but not too much. So, for now, like, share, comment, subscribe, and all those good things. Next video will be rebuilding the rear diff on this thing, and then, well, resealing the rear diff on this thing. And then the one after that will obviously be, let's pull it outside and make sure it don't run hot or fans work and all that good stuff. And you'll get to see the kind of struggles we have with that when that video comes out. All right. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Later.